But I saw something in him that we were like-minded. You know, so when we start talking about the team of one, the synergy is finding like-minded people. So we sat down and talked, and we talked about how we complement each other. He wants to do real estate, I'm in business, I understand finance, and it kind of worked. So we said, you know, it's two guys on the team, and we picked with you a little bit. We need a woman somewhere in here. We need to create that there. So my business partner, Calvin, said, listen, I have a friend who's an attorney. Oh, wow, free legal advice? Let's go. So we took her to dinner, and again, speaking to that synergy piece and finding the right people, we're out at dinner, and she's like, I don't know yet. I need to know you. I need to know if this is going to work. All right? So it's about making sure that the people that you're with is going to work, that you can have that communication. And as I went around the different tables, you know, some of the dynamics that I saw when you communicated, it was, you know, individuals throwing out ideas, but also being able to accept feedback. So that's another piece too. So being an entrepreneur, you need to be able to accept feedback. Because the first thing is you want to be your own boss, right? Everyone wants to be their own boss? Guess what? When you're an entrepreneur, you're not. Guess who the boss is? Everybody else. Clients, the vendors, you have a lot of bosses. It becomes more, all right? So that's one of the things I want to talk about is that really understand what you're getting into, really have a passion and affinity for it, because it's not easy. You know, it's not easy. You really need a plan. I know Russell really spoke to that. That's the first part, is really having your plan, knowing what you're going to do, all right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Other people have been out there, they've done it. Learn from their mistakes, all right? I mean, that's history. I know Russell spoke to that earlier on about, you know, knowing your history, knowing what happened before you, do your research. And I know that Malik spoke to it as far as, you know, how do you dress? Research goes in that too, when he spoke about going to the White House. Well, you know what? You need to wear a suit to the White House, right? That's what you think you're going to wear. Well, when you go to speak to someone, if you're going for an interview, or if you're going to, you know, present to a client, how should you dress? You need to know about that client. So do your research on who you're talking to before you talk to them. All right? So research is an important thing in business as well. So you always want to be prepared for whatever environment that you go into. Make sure you know what you're walking into before you walk in. So that's my important piece of being a business owner. And so.
Awesome. All right. A round of applause. This is advice you usually pay, you know, big money for, and y'all get in here. I mean, this is wealth. I really commend it. Hopefully, you guys are really absorbing this, and we'll put this in practice. What we want to do now for the next 30 minutes is, we're already 20, is Q&A. So particularly from the men, we want to hear from you. After Chris can pass around the mic, have any questions for the panelists, we want to get those questions addressed. So if you have a question for a particular panelist or the general panel, just feel free to ask questions.
As far as education and reading material and stuff like that, what would be some of the things you would say that people need to get like hip to or like need to know?
Well, this was. I'm glad you asked that question. One of the first things I did, like I had an MBA. MBA teaches you how to manage a business that's already existing. It does not teach you how to create a business. So I had started the business without the foundation of knowledge. I went to different schools and classes, but they didn't give me what I was looking for. And I read this book called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Great book. Told me that really I had to become a better person. It wasn't the business. It was my attitude and how I viewed myself. Because how you view yourself is how you're going to view your business. And that's why I started on the path of personal development. And that was powerful, because they have all these books to talk about how you do your accounts, how you do your finance. They don't talk about how you develop a better you.
I want to piggyback that with, when we start talking about the educational component of it, I say seek out someone that's already doing what you want to do. So one thing that we talk about, especially in our community, everyone has a role model, right? We talk about Michael Jordan all day long, right? He's a role model, all right? It's the difference between a role model and a mentor,
right?
All right? A role model, you see on TV and you try to emulate. A mentor is someone that you work with and works with you to help you develop and become a better person. So that's a great educational piece. When you want to do something, look for someone that's already doing it. And the other part of mentorship is that the mentor is not necessarily going to find you. You need to go out and find your mentor. All right?
Good point.
You need to go and look for certain qualities in the individual and then ask them, listen, I want you to be my mentor. I mean, I did. I have 2 mentors right now because they do what I want to do. Where I want to be, that's where they are. So I'm going to say seek out that. Seek out a mentor.
There is a book that I recommend to all of my clients, and it's called Creating You and Company. And it's by William Bridges. And basically, it helps you clarify your desires and what you have to offer. It's looking at you as if you are the commodity that's getting prepared to be sold. It's a great book, has lots of exercises in it, and I recommend it.
Any more? Yes, next question.
I had a question about, I guess it's for Mr. Boyd, dressing for success and comfortability. Like, that's what I had in my question. I don't like to dress for success, but I would like to be comfortable too.
You said you would like to be comfortable?
Yes, and I don't know when to wear a suit.
The reality is, it's not your choice.
Sure.
You know, when you are in somebody's playing field, you step onto, let's try it this way. You know, the Flyers played last night. You know, they're in the, what was it, Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Go out there with a baseball uniform on and see what happens. You'll be comfortable. You know,
Good point.
and it's really, the reality is, even when you chart your own territory, it's not your call. And that's really the downside of a lot of and I'm just going to be real, a lot of African Americans, you know, growing up, my generation included. I mean, we thought stuff was just supposed to come to us. Like, success is really easy and it's comfortable. Success is not comfortable. Entrepreneurship is not comfortable. You know, it's steady. The reality is, if you're not being stretched, you'll never grow. So the moment you stop feeling discomfort, that means you become stagnant. And that's just really what it is. You know, I encourage you to be as uncomfortable as possible. Stand out. Stand out. You never know who's looking at you. You never know who's watching you. And you don't know what your boss's his measurements of success are.
Right.
You know, so he may see just the fact that you decided to put on that suit and that one blazer on top of, you know, that shirt and tie that everybody else was doing might make you the manager. It just might. So the comfortability level, I just encourage everybody to kind of lose that. You know, comfortability comes from understanding that you're able to still provide for your family and get a check for doing what you do.
I just want to, I'm going to give another perspective to that. Remember, I'm the career consultant. I really think that it's important for you to learn what kind of environment you thrive in. Because there are different strokes for different areas. For instance, my son hates suits. He absolutely hates them. He's in a field where he doesn't have to wear a suit every day. That's what makes him feel comfortable. So I think that it's important for you to learn certain occupations you better wear a suit. There's no question about it. But a lot of people who are involved in technology, sometimes they can get away with things that are a little bit less formal. So research that. I'm not saying you will find your perfect place, but you may find a place where you feel less constrained.